He looked her in the eye, smiled, and told her she was almost there for the 5th year in a row. What he told the promotion panel behind closed doors was something else entirely. He called her a leadership risk. And for 5 years, she had no idea. My name is, well, that doesn't matter. What matters is this story, because you almost certainly know someone like Richard. You may have worked for someone like Richard. And if you stay until the end of this video, you're going to see exactly what happened when Diane found out. Welcome to Gracefully Ruthless. This is Almost There. Diane was 34 years old, senior project manager. 11 people reported directly to her. In a mid-sized architecture firm in London, that meant something. She brought in the firm's 2 largest contracts in a decade: a mixed-use development in Croydon, a heritage restoration in Manchester. Both profitable, both on schedule. Both publicly attributed to team effort. Privately, everyone knew whose name clients asked for when something went wrong. Her appraisals were immaculate. Technically exceptional, reliable under pressure. Clients trust her implicitly. Every 18 months, a director-level opportunity opened at the firm. And every 18 months, Richard called her into the boardroom. The promotion panel sat at one end of a polished oak table. Glass water jugs, printed dossiers, polite smiles. "Diane," Richard would say, folding his hands, "you're almost there." Almost. The word became a corridor she walked down, again and again and again. "You're technically excellent. We just need a little more strategic presence. Another cycle or 2. Another cycle. 18 months at a time. At first, she believed him. Leadership, she thought, must be something intangible, something you grow into. So she took on more, mentored junior staff, presented to clients, stayed late to prepare Richard's slides for meetings. He led. She drafted feasibility studies. He presented as our direction. She handled difficult clients. He called relationship management. And every appraisal ended the same way. You're being seriously considered. 5 years is long enough for patterns to form, long enough for ambition to start asking questions. But Diane did not accuse. She did not complain to colleagues over coffee. She did not threaten to leave. She adjusted, worked harder, smiled wider, waited. Until the 3rd rejection. And then, a Tuesday afternoon changed everything. It wasn't dramatic. No confrontation. No leaked emails. Just a Tuesday afternoon in a cafe off High Holborn. A mutual contact, someone who occasionally consulted for the firm, stirred her espresso and said, almost absent-mindedly, "It's a shame about the panel. I thought you'd get it this time." Diane blinked. "I wasn't close," she replied. The consultant hesitated. "That's not what I heard." There it was, a slight shift in temperature. "What did you hear?" A pause. "Well, Richard described you as technically excellent, but a leadership risk." A leadership risk. The words didn't land all at once. They unfolded. Too independent, not quite ready for strategic accountability, better suited to execution. "It surprised me," the consultant said quietly, "given your results." Diane smiled, paid for her coffee, walked back out onto the street. Technically excellent. Leadership risk. The exact opposite of what he had told her face to face. For 5 years, he had reassured her, encouraged her, promised her trajectory. while privately reframing her competence as a threat. It made sense, suddenly. If she rose, he narrowed. If she became director, he became replaceable. He wasn't mentoring her, he was containing her. That evening, Diane stood at her flat window and replayed every single appraisal conversation in her mind. The careful language, the praise wrapped around postponement, the gentle deferrals. She could confront him, demand explanation, escalate to HR. But she understood something in that moment. Confrontation would only warn him, and warned opponents reposition. Diane didn't confront him. She didn't shout. She didn't resign in fury. She didn't cry. She didn't send a single passive-aggressive email. She simply smiled the next morning, sat down at her desk, and made a decision. 8 months. That's all she gave herself. And what she built in those 8 months is why we're still talking about her. Strategy is rarely loud. It looks like late nights, spreadsheets, silence. For 8 months, Diane prepared. First, documentation. Every project she had led, revenue generated, margins improved, client retention percentages, delivery times reduced. She translated effort into measurable outcomes. Numbers are difficult to dismiss. Second, relationships. 2 directors sat above Richard in the organizational chart. She requested coffee meetings, framed as curiosity about long-term firm vision. She asked thoughtful questions, shared measured insights, never criticized Richard. Influence built gently. Third, qualification. Richard had once mentioned, casually, that leadership credentials mattered. So she enrolled in a recognized leadership and management certification, funded it herself, studied evenings, completed it without announcement. If she was going to be labeled a risk, she would become overqualified. Finally, market awareness. She monitored competitor firms, watched companies' house filings, tracked expansion announcements. And then she saw it, a director-level opening at a growing architecture practice, international contracts. The role specification read like a description of her current responsibilities, only with authority attached. She applied quietly. 2 interviews, a portfolio presentation, a strategic case study. When the offer arrived, it was precise. Director, 40% salary increase, authority to build her own team. She accepted and said nothing. Her resignation letter was brief, professional, measured. 4 weeks' notice. Richard stared at it, longer than necessary. "You didn't mention you were looking," he said. "You mentioned I wasn't ready," she replied. He laughed, uncertain whether it was humor. On her last day, she packed deliberately, labeled folders, left transition notes for her team. No theatrics, no speeches. In the late afternoon, Richard approached her desk. "I'm submitting for the RIBA Industry Leadership Award," he said. 2 years he had been preparing. Panels, submissions, evidence of impact. "I wondered," he continued, "if you'd be willing to write a reference for me. As a personal favor." A personal favor. The most credible testimony of his leadership would have to come from the woman he had privately described as a risk. She looked at him, not cold, not warm. "I'll think about it," she said. She left at 5:30. Her phone remained on her desk overnight before IT wiped it. Dark screen, no outgoing message. She never responded. Not yes, not no. Just silence. The award submission deadline passed, and that silence did more damage than any resignation speech ever could have. 3 months later, the results were announced. Richard did not win. Without her reference, his submission lacked the one perspective that could validate sustained leadership, the one voice that mattered most, the one he had silenced for 5 years. Soon after, the firm restructured. Economic pressures, strategic realignment, director roles consolidated. Richard's position was made redundant. Not scandal, not disgrace, just organizational recalibration. Meanwhile, Diane walked through glass doors into her new office, her name etched beneath the word director. She built a team deliberately, promoted transparently, documented praise accurately. When her own managers asked about succession planning, she identified talent early, because she had learned something. Power does not always announce itself, but insecurity does. Leadership is not protecting your position. It is preparing others to exceed it. One quiet evening, months into her new role, Diane sat at her desk after everyone had gone home. She did not feel triumph. She felt clarity. Had she confronted him, she would have released her anger and lost her advantage. Instead, she invested 8 months, 8 quiet months. The best moves are always the quiet ones. This is the kind of story that stays with you, because it's not about revenge in the loud, messy, satisfying in the moment way. It's about something rarer: patience. I want to know something. If you had been Diane and you found out on that Tuesday afternoon, what would you have done? Would you have walked straight back into that office? Or would you have smiled and started planning? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if this story hit differently than you expected, if you felt that quiet anger when Richard described her as a risk, you're in the right place. Subscribe to Gracefully Ruthless, because next time, we're talking about a woman who received a text message that was never meant for her. A text from her best friend of 10 years about her fiancé, 6 months before the wedding. She didn't scream, she didn't call anyone. She put the phone down, screenshot it, and spent the next 3 months planning. And on what was supposed to be her wedding day, in front of every single person they both loved, she made sure everyone found out. 5 years later, karma wasn't just watching. It was sitting front row. Until then, stay patient, stay precise, stay gracefully ruthless.